Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Liz and this is Let's Get Lizicle, where we do everything card making. And today we're going to make a fun color block card. Quick and simple again as usual. So I'm just going to, I was thinking about doing two. I might do one off camera later, but what I wanted to do was have 4 1.5 inch squares in the top area here. I cut my happy birthday die, which is available in my Etsy shop, so I'll link that down below, in some stripy pattern paper. This is from Doodlebug. I think it's from 2024 maybe, or 2023. It was like a monster paper packet, like Halloween time, but also the stripe pattern that I have also available in my Etsy shop. You could do the same kind of techniques with. You would just maybe use different colored cardstocks with it. So I'll link that also in the description down below. But yeah, so what I wanted to do was do the happy birthday. I'm gonna do the text in black. I've already pre-cut all the things because I feel like it will stand out best on this. Yeah. Okay, and then I picked the 4 colors that I wanted to use. Might have to move this down. This is actually going to fill up more of a card than I thought it would, which is fine. So we'll have something like that. And these colors I somewhat matched to cardstocks I have in my stash, to the stripes that are in this print. But if you're matching the ones in my paper pack, you can match it to your Simon inks if you have those, and do it that way. But what I want to do is just, these are going to be no color cards. So I'm going to stamp these bears from Beary Special Birthday. And this is from MFT a long time ago. I don't know what happened to the paper in the background, but what I wanted to do was stamp each one of these bears in one of the sections. So you're not going to get the whole image, but if I can get majority of it, or just something along like that line, so at least his face and part of the balloon is visible on that one. This one will be maybe there, and then this one we probably want majority of the cake. I don't want to cut off his eye though, so we're gonna go mostly for the bear's face, and then do the rest like that. And then this one, same thing. It's mostly just going to be like the bear's face with a little bit of hint of color. That's not necessarily the order I'm going to do them in, because I feel like I should do maybe like one cake, one here, one cake, one here, one balloon, and one present. So maybe I'll just switch up those two. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to heat emboss these on white on these panels, and that's it. I'm not coloring anything. Sometimes when I do this technique, I will use like a gray or a darker shade alcohol marker to color in some of the areas, or sometimes I'll add a bit of glitter. I might add a bit of glitter, maybe just highlights and stuff, we'll see. But yeah, so we're just gonna make a quick and simple happy birthday card. You could use any of your stamp sets for this. I'm just using this because I like to use this for birthday cards. But you could also use just like balloons if you wanted. I actually don't need to do all bears, so maybe I won't even do all bears. So maybe I can do the balloons in one, and then the balloon guy up here, and then do the cake and the present. Maybe I'll skip this bear, just because it's a bigger image, and I do want some of the cake to show up. So maybe we'll do these 3 images and the present, and the balloons. We'll see. Anyway, so yeah, so I think that's probably about how we'll do it. I don't think I want the 2 lighter colors and the 2 darker colors on the same side. I think they should be opposite. So I think that is the best layout, and then we can get started on that and then glue that all together. So it is gonna fill up the card a lot. So if you're not into cards that have a lot of white space, this will be pretty good for you. Also, I didn't have a 1.5 inch square die and I wanted it to have those finished die edges. So I just cut the mini Polaroid from the Lawn Fawn. I think it's called Say Cheese set. You get a big Polaroid, this little one, and then a little like stitched heart with it. So I just cut these out because this was a 1.5 inch square, which is what I was looking for. And I will save these frames for another project, or I'll just ditch them. We'll see. I try not to save too much because then we all become hoarders at some point. But yeah, so I will move over to voiceover and start working on this card. Hey guys, so voiceover Liz here. You all know how I love to say what I would do differently next time, so let's do that. If I was going to do this card again, I would probably just stamp and heat emboss the entire image and then just cut it out afterwards, because I feel like that might be a little bit easier. I thought it would be a little bit easier this way, but it worked. I just think it would be easier to do it and then cut it out afterwards, because there were a few spots where I maybe didn't ink low enough on some of them and I had to extend the line a bit, which is fine. If you have a white gel pen or a Posca marker like I was using, which is just an acrylic paint marker, I have one of the fine tipped ones. It works pretty well actually. I just brought them out of my stash this past week to see if it would be better than using the gel pens. So I might use this for a while. I think I did try it before, but maybe I didn't do it with the name brand ones. I have bought some like off-brand ones before. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes. It seems to be working fine, but I would, again, probably just stamp the entire image and then cut out the square after. Also, if you have a 1.5 inch square, either a die or like a punch, you could use that. I have a 1 inch punch coming in. I ordered one off of Temu because I wanted to start making like color swatch like tags, so I have color combinations to put together with my cardstocks, and I just wanted something cheap, so I just ordered one off of there for simple things like that. I don't mind ordering things like that off of Temu. And then for the heat embossing here, I decided to use Artist's trick. She always does her heat embossing on tin foil to help prevent the warping, because it kind of like reflects the heat back to the back of the cardstock and keeps it somewhat even. It does warp slightly, but like not too bad actually. I probably try to use this trick a little bit more often. So maybe I will just make like a scrap piece of cardboard, wrap it in the tin foil and just keep it off to the side in my stash somewhere so that I can bring it out when I'm doing heat embossing. The only problem with that is I don't heat it from the back doing this method, which I do prefer because it does give it a bit smoother results. But maybe for like quick simple images like these, I would do it like this. If I was doing a bigger project where there was more heat embossing, I might go back to my old method where I heat it from the back just because it's a bit smoother. I also made a huge mess with all of the embossing powder I had, just because I had forgotten it was on the tin foil, and then I had forgotten that it was on the paper at one point. Like I was trying to stamp, put the powder on it, and then set it aside, and then put the powder back in the container, and then do it again for the next one. But I had forgotten it a few times in between, so there's powder all over my desk. So I had to clean that up. There's still powder all over my desk, just not in my area where I craft on the mat here. But yeah, so I made a huge mess today, but it was fun. I actually really like the way the card turned out. I would do probably a bunch more of these, and I'd probably do them even for Christmas. So maybe we'll see that again, and maybe we'll do it in a different way. I think also maybe not even necessarily embossing it, but you could like stamp them with black ink if you're doing like a black sentiment like this one. It might have looked a little bit better if I had just stamped them black on the colored squares, because I used black on the sentiment. But I think if I was going to do this one again, I would probably use maybe a black shadow layer instead of the multicolor, and then use the white words on top just so that that stuck out, and then the black would go with the black kind of thing. Or you could do the white, because then you would have the white text and the white embossing, if that makes sense. So yeah, Just a few things I would do a little bit differently, but I would also probably do this card for a bunch of different occasions. This would be fun to do with Halloween stamps. This would be fun to do with Christmas, like I mentioned, baby cards, like anything. Like this is just a quick and simple layout. No coloring involved. We're just using white heat embossing powder and some clear ink, which I feel like most people have in their stash. I know originally when I had first started stamping and making cards and stuff, I wasn't going to get into all the extras and like the embossing, the glimmer, the hot foil plates, the whatever. But I did end up investing in embossing pretty early, and you don't need a lot for it. You need clear ink, clear sticky ink, which is like Versamark, Lawn Fawn, Simons has stamped. You can get whatever one, whatever brand you're most familiar with if you want. They all work fine. I have the dual heat wow embossing gun, which was probably the most investment you have to do when you do embossing, because it's about I think $30 to $50 for one of those, but they last a really long time. It is my second one because I bought a cheap one the first time around. And the first one I bought just had the one heat setting. This one has the two, so it's kind of nice if you wanted to do something on a lower heat and do a bit of a low and slow kind of melt for something, or there's the high heat, which I usually blast it with. But the lower one also works well. It just takes a little bit longer to melt it. And then your embossing powders. And embossing powders, I do not have a ton of them. You don't need a ton of them. I feel like if you are getting into heat embossing, you definitely need a white, a gold, and a silver. And I have a glow in the dark one, which I've only used once or twice. So I might use that a little bit more, but that's just like a novelty one that I have. And if you have a lot of inks, I don't think you need black or any other colors, because you can just use your ink to stamp the image and then use a clear ink on top of that to clear emboss it, just to give it that glossy look without having to buy all the embossing powders for it. But anyway, we're just finishing up this card. I propped up all of the boxes onto the 1mm foam tape from scrapbook.com. I have the 1-inch thickness, and would probably need to get a little bit smaller ones, but I just cut this one up and it's fine. And I'm going to be adding a bit of my glitter gel pen just as like highlights on the balloons, the ribbons, the cake icing, and then off screen I did color in the nose and the inner ears in with the white Posca marker just to give it a little bit of extra. But that's pretty much all for today's card. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe because I'd love to have you here. And if you're not already following me over on Instagram and or Facebook, please do so. And I occasionally add in additional content on there. Right now it's just been video days, but otherwise I will try to upload a little bit more often soon when I get the energy to do it. The energy has been low this year and we need to work on that. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and until next time, thanks guys. Bye.